Okay, now, here's where I want to give you a clinical vignette and bring some of this information all together. Let's say that there is a young girl, she's 5 years old, and she has wonderful, loving parents. She's never experienced any significant trauma, neglect, or anything like that. And so her life is good. And then something really bad happens. And let's assume this is a story that her uncle gets laid off from his job, and he contacts her parents and says, hey, listen, I'm out of work right now. Could I please move in with you? Just maybe for a couple of weeks or something until I find another job. I really would appreciate it. I'll cut the lawn, I'll do some babysitting, I'll do the laundry, but can you help me out? So they say, well, oh, sure, okay. So he moves in. And then maybe a week later, the parents say, well, actually, we're going to take you up on your offer to do some babysitting. We'd like to go out and eat dinner tonight. And he goes, okay, I'll take care of your daughter. And then they go out, and I think everybody probably knows where the story is going. He starts molesting this little girl. And it's a kind of sexual molestation that's accompanied by really, really frightening threats. So in addition to everything else that's so horrible about this, he's saying, if you tell anybody, I'm going to kill your parents. Okay? And so she clams up, and it actually happens another 2 times, but at some point then she tells her parents, and they arrest the uncle, and now he's in jail. Okay? And let's assume that maybe she got therapy, maybe not, but that in the aftermath of this, she's able to kind of get back on track. Now, there are events like that can derail people for a lifetime, but there are a lot of people, because of a lot of resiliency, that it has a huge impact on them, but they're able to get back on their feet and move into their life. Okay. Now, let's say in this example that the guy, the uncle, has the following physical characteristics. He's about 5'8", a little bit overweight, and he has black curly hair. And it's very likely in this extremely intense moment of being molested that all that data is coming into her amygdalas and just etching itself into the memory banks there. There could be other things too. Remember, olfaction is there as well. Maybe he has this particular kind of odor, or cologne or something. But anyway, let's just look at the visual part right now. And so anyway, now she's 5 years old, but let's fast forward 25 years. And let's assume that maybe she doesn't remember the molestation, but if she does, she's really put it on the shelf. It's a bad event in the past, but on a day-to-day basis, it's not really having a great impact on her. She's done pretty well to overcome that because her parents loved her and really protected her and that sort of thing. So she goes to a meeting. Let's say it's maybe a continuing education meeting. Maybe there are 50 people there. And so she gets there and starts looking around, sees a couple of people she knows and has a cup of coffee. And people are just, kind of chatting before the program begins. And so let's assume there's this guy there, and again, you probably know where this is going. There's a man there that has some of the same physical characteristics, okay? About 5'8", somewhat overweight, black curly hair. And what's going on is this. She doesn't even notice this guy at all consciously. But what she does notice is she's starting to feel uneasy. And her palms are getting a little bit sweaty. She's feeling her heart get a little, racing a little bit. And so, like anybody else, she's going to say, what is going on here? And so she's going to look around the room with her cortex, if you will, with her conscious mind, and she's looking around. There's nothing wrong here. I mean, people are not, being, intimidating, or there's no jerks here or anything like that. But what she does notice, and that's her reality test, what she does notice, though, is there's this gradual escalation of her anxiety, and she's starting to tremble, and it's just feeling like she got a panic attack. At some point, she says, I'm out of here. And she leaves, she goes, sits in the car, out in the parking lot, and she calms down. Now she's got a problem. She's got to figure out what in the hell was that about. And because she doesn't know what's evoking that. It's a good example of disconnect where the cortex is not aware of anything, but the amygdalas are doing pattern recognition, right? And turning on a fight or flight response. So she's in the car. She doesn't have a clue about what this is about. She might start thinking, am I going crazy? Or do I have some kind of like hormonal problem, or I have a brain tumor? Or, people search for meanings for stuff, but she doesn't have a clue. So that'd be a perfect example of how this unconscious processing results in the eruption of particular kinds of symptoms when there is an environmental trigger. Now, when I smell smoke, it's not out of my awareness what it's all about. I can say, I was afraid because my house burned down, I have this reaction every time, I'm not in danger right now. All of that is connected. She has a disconnect. Everybody with me on that? Okay. Now, part of what happens in many therapies for post-traumatic stress disorder, I mean, it's a piece of it, is really exploring the ins and outs of the traumatic event and how it's affecting the person, and helping them to understand the kinds of things that may serve as triggers for them. And so it might be in a certain part of town where they were in a bad accident or got raped or what have you. Start getting really anxious there. They may not know why they're anxious, but they start getting clear about, wait a minute, these kind of things activate something inside me. And it's good for them to know that, because they might choose to avoid it. But the other thing is, if it gets turned on, it gets triggered, instead of feeling like I'm losing my mind, they can go, okay, I know what's going on. If she learned that a guy like this, she learns that another guy is 5'8", black curly hair, she gets nervous, that guy looks like my uncle. She still gets activated, okay? But reality testing kicks in, and top-down control, and then her anxiety starts to subside, okay? So that is the vignette.